Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Movies That Matter podcast. I'm your host, Chris Flaherty. Thank you for joining us. It is episode 4, hot off the tails of episode 3 that just dropped, and this one will probably drop very, very soon. We'll get on a more consistent schedule eventually. It's my New Year's resolution for 2022. But, you know, Halloween is right around the corner, literally right around the corner, but Christmas is also right around the corner, and I'm not sure if this is a Christmas or a Halloween movie. I think it's up to your preference, but maybe we'll figure that out tonight. But the movie we're talking about tonight is Gremlins, and my guest is Flynn Reardon. Flynn, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Folks that you don't know, Flynn is a 2019 graduate? 2018?
No, 2020.
2020, wow.
Yeah.
Time is an illusion. Flynn.
Yeah, I know.
Of the Shawsheen Valley Technical High School, and he was a very frequent and active student volunteer over here at Burlington Cable Access Television, where he had a few shows, one that he and I co-produced for a while, that we kind of just dropped off because we didn't like The Flash anymore.
Yeah, it just kind of... Have you seen anything recent from it?
I've read things, and I'm just like, no thanks. For those who know, we did a recap of the CW show, The Flash, and we lost interest.
Yeah, it changed showrunners too much, and then characters started contradicting themselves, and
yep.
Yeah.
Enough about Flashback. We're here to talk about Gremlins, and it's kind of funny because I don't know if you remember, you were the one who suggested that I watch this film way back in 2017.
Had you not seen it prior to that?
I had not seen it prior to then.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, and Christmas 2017 was the first time I watched Gremlins, and now I've watched it twice.
How do you, do you remember how you reacted to it when you first watched it?
I liked it. I did and I liked it last night, and last night was the first time I saw the sequel, and we'll get to that. But Flynn, in your own words, can you tell us what Gremlins is about for those that don't know?
So Gremlins is basically I label it a Christmas movie. Mm-hmm. I label the first one a Christmas movie. The second one is just it's like a horror comedy in a way. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's very horror, but it's more like a dark comedy.
Yeah.
But the first Gremlins is basically like a twisted kind of Christmas story where the film opens with the father trying to get a gift for his son, and they live in this very little town that's, I don't know if you recognized, but I'm 99% sure it's the same town set that they use in Back to the Future, the center.
Yep.
But basically he's trying to get his son this present, and he ends up getting him this thing called a mogwai, which is basically this little furry creature. And there's 3 rules to the mogwai: is that you can't get them wet. If you expose them to sunlight, they'll die. So bright lights is a no. Mm-hmm. And if you feed them after midnight, that's the rule you're not supposed to break at all. Mm-hmm. And that's the looming thing at the beginning of the movie is, obviously you can know going into the movie, as soon as they say those, okay, they're going to break all 3 of them. It's just a matter of how and when and what will happen.
Right.
But yeah, it's basically, as the rules get broken throughout the movie and stuff like that, chaos ensues, and it ends up to the point where this tiny little peaceful town basically becomes an Armageddon zone, and is probably after the movie, the military probably came in and cleaned everything up. Mm-hmm. That's at least what I would assume.
That brings up my low-key favorite moment in the film, because I think it's interesting that normally in horror movies, people make a lot of stupid decisions that gets them killed. I don't think any of the main characters make stupid decisions.
No, it's not. There's no moments that I'm ugh, why did you do that?
Right. But my favorite moment is the dad is driving home towards the end of the film, and he's got the radio on, and what is it, Rockin' Ricky?
Yeah.
And he's
it's Rockin' Ricky Ravato.
Yeah, Rockin' Ricky Ravato. He's like, the Marines are coming, we're gonna hose these guys out, and it's no, don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm just screaming, no. Don't tell them to do that.
Yeah.
But this is an 80s film, so how did you first learn about this film?
I don't remember necessarily. What I can say is this is the first like movie that I like that wasn't like Thomas and the Magic Railroad that I remember watching.
A great film.
Exactly, great film. And but like I have this on DVD. That's what's in my backpack. I brought the DVD that I've had forever of Gremlins. It's the special edition, which just has like bonus features and stuff.
Awesome.
But I had a portable DVD player, and I remember just like watching Gremlins over and over and over again.
That's awesome.
On it. And it's funny because I don't like horror movies, but I feel like I was watching this movie at like 4 or 5 years old. So, like, looking back on it, like, I can understand, like, this probably isn't the best for that age.
Not really. I mean, but it's a Christmas movie.
Right. And I think I always thought the Gremlins were goofy.
They were. Very goofy. And more so goofy in the second film. But I think, it's a horror movie, and it's like a black comedy.
Right. So it's very much a black comedy more than a horror, I'd say.
And, like, again, like, the main character, the main gremlin, Gizmo, like, he's cute. He's kid-friendly. Right. And, like, I did appreciate that the first time I watched it. Like, okay, like, the cute gremlin doesn't turn evil. It's more like things happen to him, and him and the humans have to deal with it. Right. Yeah. So what stuck out with you the first time you watched it?
The thing that I remember the most is the scene where the mom discovers the Gremlins, and then she's fighting them in the kitchen. I remember watching that like hundreds of times.
I was going to say when we got to like our favorite parts, that is my favorite scene.
It's such a good scene, and it's like super well directed and everything.
Because like she could have easily been the first victim of the film.
And that's one of the things I was going to bring up. This movie was supposed to be way darker.
Yes.
And literally it said that there was one part on the script where she went upstairs and a gremlin literally decapitated her and her head rolled down the stairs.
You can almost sort of see when that was supposed to happen, too.
Exactly. There's like a lot of like moments where almost like a campy thing will happen, and you can tell like, oh, that was probably like they had to do that, otherwise it was going to be something way darker.
I think that's another reason why maybe like younger viewers, like how you first watched it, don't get so scared by it, because it is campy. Right. For sure. And I mean...
But it's like an endearing campy in a way, you know?
Sure. No, when she is... Like, she kills 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I think
fairly easily.
She kills... Well, I was going to say she kills the most gremlins, but that's not true. When Billy burns the entire movie theater down, he probably kills like 500 of them.
Also, like, I love how he just gets away with that.
Oh, yeah. Like, there's... Like, that was one of the things I thought, like, maybe in the sequel there would be, like, some repercussions and stuff they would bring up. It's like, no. Yeah. It's just, he literally just got to, like, blow up the town, and it was fine.
He was okay. Everyone was fine. Yeah. Destroys the toy store, or the candy store, or wherever the final confrontation takes place.
Yeah, the toy store.
That thing is destroyed.
I think it's just, like, a department store.
Yeah. He breaks into it. Whatever. Yeah, the mom kills the 3 gremlins in the most...
Oh, it's like the first
creative ways?
Yeah, one goes into the blender.
The
other one goes in the microwave.
Yep.
And then is the last one, what's the last one? Oh, it's the thrown into the fireplace.
Billy knocks it off, because that one, like, she like thinks she's okay.
He was in the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
I can't
is great.
remember where the other one went. Did she just stab it? Because she had the knife the whole time.
I think she does stab it. Yeah. And they just don't, like, show it dead.
Yeah.
Fully.
No, mom's a boss.
Yeah.
I can't get over that scene. That scene just blew my mind.
I don't know, like, maybe it's just, I'm trying to think, like, what made me as a kid remember that scene so much.
Right.
But I think it's just because, like, I don't know, the lighting of that scene is, like, very different. Also, because it's very bright, which is like weird because it's supposed to be like a scary scene, and you don't see like a scary scene with like very bright.
That's
things.
true.
Like nothing's in like the shadows or anything like that. So maybe that's why. I don't know.
Oh, well, I think that goes into the whole tone of the movie. Like, it's not trying to be full on horror. Like, it's also trying to adhere to this Christmas setting for whatever reason. And also, like, it's campy. It's black comedy. It's trying to have fun.
Right.
And it is fun. Like, I think some younger kids these days would be traumatized by it. But I think back then in the 80s, like, kids could take more.
Yeah.
For lack of better phrase. No offense to, like, the younger generations of today.
There is I don't know how, like, recent the news has been on it, but they are making another Gremlins.
Yes, I was going to say, like, Gremlins 3 has been in development for a while.
Apparently going to be R. And it's going to be puppets still.
Puppets would be good.
I'm totally for.
And I did want to talk about the puppets, because the puppetry in this thing is amazing.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah. Like, it's Henson level, I think.
Oh, yeah. It's very good.
I'm very happy that they didn't go with, like, whatever CGI. Well, I guess CGI wasn't available at the time.
No, the only, like, animation that's in the movie is the that one shot of the stop motion of all the Gremlins when they leave the YMCA. And it's
Great
just that
shot.
wide shot, and
Great
they're all
shot.
just running out.
Great shot. Love that shot. Yeah, and I think they were going to do stop motion for the whole thing, maybe. And then someone came along and said, no, we can do puppets with this.
Yeah. I'm glad that they did puppets, because it's very, like, they're very detailed puppets. Like,
they are.
They don't look like they're just, like, felt and things like that. Like, they look, like, slimy and gross when they need
Disgusting.
to.
Yeah.
So.
Especially when Spike is, like, clinging on to life at the very end.
Oh, yeah, when he's the skeleton.
Oh, my God. Yeah, no, I think we were just talking about this last night with Jurassic Park and how, like, with CGI and stop motion, like, you can definitely, like, we're so desensitized to it now, but, like, if you see a CGI gremlin or a dinosaur, like, you know it's not there.
Right.
But, like, with practical effects, you get the sense and the urgency that, like, hey, this is happening right now.
Yeah, with CGI, a lot of the times when you see a CGI thing, even if you're, like, really pulled into the story, I feel like there's that quick, like, millisecond thought of, like, oh, that's not real.
Right.
And even if it's something that small, it, like, pulls you out.
Right.
Whereas, like, when I was a kid, I noticed it when I rewatched it. In the kitchen scene, you can see at one point, when the gremlin's over in the corner, you can see, like, the wire holding the hand up.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
And as a kid, I was like, I thought they were real.
Yeah.
Like, that's just what I thought. I was
sure, you were young. You didn't know better.
But, like, I thought, like, oh, how do they get these real monsters and, like, film them for this movie?
Oh, my God. No, it's incredible special effects that still hold up to this day, I think. And, like, particularly, like, when they're, like, I don't know, what do you call it? The pupil state?
Yeah, when they're in, like, the eggs and stuff.
Yeah, like, it's disgusting.
Oh, it's gross.
But, like, that's a testament to what they did. Like, we see that's gross and disgusting.
Yeah.
Or even, like, the one part where, that's another favorite shot of mine, when he jumps in the pool. And then, like, all the smoke and stuff starts happening when, you know,
a great shot is when Billy's running out of the YMCA and you just hear all the gremlins.
Yes.
And then you see, like, the shadows of them on the wall for a second. That's really good.
That's a great, like, sort of Jaws effect of, like, not showing the shark.
Yeah.
But, like, you know it's there and it's coming. So we've talked about things that have, like, stuck out to you in the first film and stuff. And, like, what really, like, cemented the connection for you? Like, what did make you think, like, yeah, this is something I really want to keep watching?
Well, I always would watch it just because of Christmas. And also, like, it was one of those things where, like, my mom loves E.T. and loves Gremlins. So, like, we would watch those and stuff like that. And also, this doesn't really have to do much with, like, my love for the movie, but it's just kind of like a weird thing, is my grandparents used to have a cat named Gizmo.
Okay.
So, like, I would, every time, like, I would go over there and I would see the cat and stuff like that, it would kind of just remind me of the movie and things like that. But I think it's just, like, there was never, for me as a kid, there was never, like, a moment that I didn't want to watch from the movie. Like, there's never, like, a dip.
Yeah.
Because I loved all the Gizmo stuff, and I thought that was funny. And then when they bring in more of the more evil gremlins later, I love that stuff. Because even though the gremlins, like, are murdering people and stuff, like, the whole scene where they're in the bar and they're just goofing around is great. And, like, I'll laugh every time.
Yep. I love when they're in the theater watching.
Oh yeah, when they're
Snow
watching
White
Snow
of
White.
all things.
Yeah,
like whatever.
and they're all singing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's just a good time. I mean, obviously, like, it's dark, but there are moments of like relief.
Yeah,
you know, like you're not like clenching, like for lack of a better, clenching your pearls.
Speaking of dark, we should talk about the darkest thing in the movie, which I assume you're going to know immediately because it's very just out of nowhere.
Are we talking about the monologue?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Great. Let's talk about that.
Her name's Katie, right?
Yeah, it's Kate or Katie.
Yeah. Her backstory about her dad and how he died in the chimney is, like, I don't remember that at all as a kid. And I remember rewatching it, like, recently, and I was like, oh, my God. Like, that's crazy that this is in this movie.
Like, the film is dark, and then there's that scene dark.
Yeah.
And, like, I know, like, everyone, like, behind the scenes was like, we don't need this. Like, do we need this?
That's what I saw, is they were like, that was one of the things that they were going to cut.
Yeah.
And Joe Dante was like, no, we need to keep this. And I like it because it, like, most of the time you never think about people that genuinely don't like Christmas for other reasons than just being like, I don't like Christmas. Mm-hmm. Like, her character, like, obviously it seems like she wants to enjoy the Christmas spirit and that kind of thing, but obviously if you have something traumatic like that, how are you supposed to just, like,
enjoy Christmas?
Yeah,
no, we're, like, society is so, like, conditioned to, like, love the holidays and stuff, but there are some people who find the holidays kind of challenging. Like, it might be a difficult time of year for them. I mean, you might experience a traumatic thing with your late father, or maybe some gremlins attacked your house. Who knows? So I think that's sort of like what the film is trying to say here, that, like, the holidays isn't all sugar plums and Santa Claus.
Right.
Because sometimes your Christmas present to your son might try to kill your entire town.
Yeah.
But it is such a random thing because, like, we don't spend too much time with Katie, like, for the first chunk of the film until everything happens.
Yeah, we know, like, she works at the bar.
Mm-hmm. She worked at the bank with him, too?
Yes.
Yeah.
So she works at the bank, like, after... Or she works at the bank, and then she works at the bar at nights.
Yeah.
So, which now that I'm thinking about that makes way more sense, because now that if the dad's not there, she's probably providing for half the family, too.
Yeah, I did want to talk about that, but we'll keep going.
But yeah, we don't know much about her other than, like, Billy likes her, and she works at the bank, and she works at the bar, and that's about it. And then, like, as he, like, tries to talk with her and stuff like that, she, like, opens up more about not liking Christmas, and then eventually Billy has to go rescue her because the gremlins have just taken over the bar, and for some reason she's still serving them, which I think is really funny.
I do think that's hilarious that she's so committed to her job. She's going to keep serving these monsters.
Right. And, like, they literally, like, pull a gun on her and stuff.
It's so wild.
Yeah.
But it's, like, her, like, little monologue, like, I think it's one of the things, like, people, like, low-key remember the most about this film, because, like, it's sort of, like, hits the brakes real hard on the story. It comes out of nowhere. It comes out of nowhere. Yeah. And we are going to talk about Gremlins, too, for a while, but I laughed out loud when, like, for some reason last night, Abraham Lincoln comes up, like, because the neighbor visits him in New York, and then, like, they're trapped in the building.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, what is he like? Billy, don't give up. Did Washington give up? Did Lincoln give up? And then Kate's like, oh, do not mention Abraham Lincoln. I had a traumatic experience happen to me on Abraham Lincoln's birthday. And she starts going into the monologue, and then there's like, we don't have time for this.
Yeah.
I laughed out loud.
It's almost like the second one is, like, just a parody.
It is.
In, like, the best ways. Like, it's not just, like, retelling the same story in, like, just with jokes added.
Right.
More than there already were.
It's poking fun at the original, like, time after time.
And there's a whole scene that I'm just trying to remember. It's, like, blanking on me. But there's a whole sequence in the second one that just, like, cuts away. And they're like, that's a wrap, blah, blah, blah. And it's, like, isn't that, like, there's, like, commercials or something?
I'm trying
to remember. That's where Hulk Hogan shows up.
Yeah, I think the Gremlins, like, they break the fourth wall and they tear the film. They tear the film out of the projector.
That's what it is. Yeah.
And then I don't know. They start playing like a old school XXX film. I think. Yeah. And then like parents are coming out of the theater complaining, and then for some reason
Hulk Hogan's there.
Hulk Hogan's in the theater. In the theater by himself,
sunglasses on,
watching Gremlins 2.
Yeah.
And they're like, Mr. Hogan, can you deal with this?
Yeah.
Because apparently Hulk Hogan was the hottest celebrity at the time.
Yeah.
So I imagine if Gremlins 2 was made in this day and age, like, it would have been The Rock in the theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Which, you know, quote us now, folks, in case Gremlins 3 comes out in a few years.
Yeah.
And it takes the path of Gremlins 2 instead of Gremlins 1. But back to Gremlins 1 and how we talked about how, like, Katie is, like, working at the bar and the bank and stuff. I think it's almost like a rough coming-of-age story, you know, because you have Billy, like, the father's traveling all around. He's the struggling inventor. Billy's working at the bank. Like, he's helping his mom. I don't know if he's supporting his dad at all, but...
It doesn't, like, other than being like, oh, your inventions are cool, Dad, and him, like, spraying toothpaste everywhere, he's not really supporting him.
Right. And, like, the dog is going to get put down by the neighbor for whatever reason. That doesn't really, like, come into play.
Also, I didn't know if you noticed this, but when the neighbor gets launched out of the building,
yeah,
when
another one of my
Beetle,
favorite parts,
when she gets shot out of the building and lands on the street and just dies. Did you notice who one of the police officers in the car is?
No.
The one that's freaking out?
Oh,
it's Jonathan Banks.
So Mike from Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I did.
He's also in Airplane too. He's one of the.
I know he's in Airplane.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was in Gremlins.
Yeah. He's the police officer that's like, get us out of here, and he's like freaking out, which is funny because like that's not the character that he plays.
That's not the character that we know him for.
Right.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The whole time, like, she's like going after the dog, I'm like, is this Wizard of Oz?
That's what I was thinking, is like, it's got to be just inspiration from that.
So, and then I had seen it before because you recommended it to me, but I'm like, did something happen with the neighbor that is relevant to this story? And then I'm like, oh no, she just gets killed.
Yeah.
In almost a similar Wizard of Oz fashion, because like she's a witch and then her like legs are sticking out.
Yeah.
And that was she implanted into the ground? I don't know.
I don't know.
Just another one of like the bizarre sight gags in this film.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gremlins is almost like this weird commentary on like growing up and taking like the rose-tinted glasses off of childhood and the holidays and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, no, you got to grow up and kill some monsters.
The second one is very much a commentary, but not on that. It's very much like commentary capitalism.
On what, though? On what?
Oh, it's very like anti-capitalism and those kind of things.
Should we just move on to Gremlins 2 at this point?
Well, we don't have to.
What else? We're going to jump around
for the first one.
We talked about some of our favorite scenes and moments in the film. Do you have any fun facts? I know we've dished a few out.
Let me see some of the ones.
I know we did talk about like how this film like pretty much almost gave birth to the PG-13 rating.
Yes. And then so this was Chris Columbus's like big break into making movies and stuff.
Yeah, he
later did Home Alone and thousands of other things. But do you know? I assume you know. Do you know who voices Gizmo?
Howie Mandel.
Yeah, which
for
who knows
whatever reason,
who knows why?
Because at one time, Howie Mandel was a stand-up comedian.
Right, but like, I don't know why.
I don't know. I mean, there are plenty of popular voice actors that were still active at the time.
I don't know if this is just like a weird... Did Howie Mandel ever have hair?
I don't know.
I don't remember him ever having hair.
I don't know.
Anyway.
You can email me at moviesthatmatterpod@gmail.com if you can confirm
if Howie Mandel
had hair in the 80s, folks.
And then Frank Welker of Scooby-Doo is Stripe.
Okay.
Which I didn't recognize.
That sort of makes
honestly,
sense because
I felt like it could have just been anyone.
I mean, that sort of makes sense because Frank Welker is like known for like voicing animals, like Scooby-Doo and Abu and Aladdin and stuff.
So the thing we were talking about with the rating is they almost gave this an R rating,
right?
And then they cut out some of those darker scenes to make it PG.
Yeah,
and this came out. So it says the new rating was ultimately created with Temple of Doom,
right? Because Temple of Doom is rated PG.
Yeah,
for 80s PG.
Yeah, 80s PG.
Yeah.
But those movies came out within I think 2 weeks of each other or something.
I think so, yeah.
And then because of that, Steven Spielberg proposed why don't we just add a new rating that's between R and PG because that's a huge jump.
It is a huge jump.
PG is someone says shut up in the movie, and then R is full nudity on screen.
Yep.
That's a big jump.
Big jump.
So he's like, why don't we add a different rating that's in between? And now there's even more.
Yeah.
Now.
Is there?
Well,
I mean, there's G, PG, PG-13.
Well, there's past R. There's NC-17.
Yeah, NC-17. Which you almost never see.
Yeah. And then there's TV has TV-14.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand.
I don't know how TV ratings apply to movies sometimes.
Yeah, there's Youth 7.
Yeah.
And then there's there's Youth, which is just for kids. Mm-hmm. And then other than that, I think it's just I don't know, is it general?
Yeah, G is general audience.
Yeah, G is general audience, and then there's TV-14, and then whatever beyond that.
I don't know. I don't think they exactly correlate because, as you know, you watch a film on TV and the censorship is just ridiculous sometimes.
Yeah.
What they replace swear words with.
Have you ever seen what's it called? Snakes on the Plane?
Monday to Friday
plane?
Yeah.
Monkey fighting snakes.
Monkey fighting
Monday
snakes.
to Friday plane.
Yeah. Someone was really scratching their brain for that one.
I don't know how someone did that. That's difficult to come up with.
Yeah. They sat in a room for a while and thought, how do we replace well, you folks know.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we have one of the things is, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier. I mentioned it to you before we started, is that Mogwai is it's Cantonese for devil or demon.
Yep.
Which
tells you all you need to know going in.
Right. And in ways, this is kind of moving on a little bit to the second one.
Yeah.
We're
almost approaching the halfway mark, so.
Yeah. The second one is I was telling you earlier, I never wanted to watch the second one because I was afraid it would ruin the first one for me. Mm-hmm. And the only thing that it ruins about the first one for me is that at the very beginning of the second one, it instantly kills the old man.
Yes, that kind of bothered me.
And the whole thing was, I loved how the end of the first one is him walking away with Gizmo, and it's this beautiful shot that's clearly a matte painting, but
it's
doesn't
beautiful.
Matter. Right,
it's a wonderful shot.
And you're oh, he's taking him back, and they learn their lesson and stuff. And then the second one is we want to buy your building, and he's it's not for sale, and he's dying, and then they just let him die, and then they buy his building. It's basically Up, but he doesn't have balloons.
He doesn't have balloons or a wife.
Yeah.
Or a dog. He kind of has a dog.
Yeah.
It's Gizmo. But Gizmo doesn't really care, I guess.
Yeah. That also makes me wonder is he has the grandson in the first one. So wouldn't the property have been left to the grandson? He doesn't care?
He went to college.
Maybe he sold it, paid for his college.
Well, in the first one, the grandson sells Gizmo to the dad.
Right.
So maybe he's all right, I'm writing you out of my will. I told you not to do that.
That's true.
Maybe we solved a Gremlins 2 plot hole.
There's one thing about Gremlins 2 that bothers me. Mm-hmm. And I know that Gremlins 2, just to fill everyone in, Gremlins 1 was such a huge success that they wanted to make a Gremlins 2 so badly, and the director, Joe Dante, was I don't want to do it. Because he was very against sequels.
Right.
And they said, you can do whatever whatever you want. We won't even like step in at all. Just make another one, and we don't care. So then he proceeded to make the craziest movie of all time.
He sure did. He sure did.
And the only thing that like bothers me about it is I can't remember now. I was just thinking about it. Oh, that's what it was. Is the characters that return,
so Billy,
for the
Kate,
most
and
part,
the neighbors,
makes sense. We've got Billy, we've got Gizmo, we've got Katie. Mr. Futterman.
It's random.
It's random.
It's random.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I love Mr. Futterman because in the first one he only has about one line, and it's him just complaining
it's an important
about
line though.
It is. It's just him complaining about foreign cars and anything from outside the U.S. because he thinks it has gremlins in it.
Right.
And then his tractor gets full of gremlins and they drive through his house.
Yeah. And Gremlins was like an old way of saying like, oh, there's something in the machine that's making it not work.
Exactly.
And then like, that's the clever tie into the title of the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But honestly, like thinking about it, the billionaire guy in the second one, like the guy who runs the corporation.
Oh, the actor's John Glover.
Yeah.
I don't remember the guy's name.
I don't remember his name either.
But he voices the Riddler in Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, he does?
He does. And he's the dad of the bad guy in Shazam.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. Very like low-key character actor.
That's true.
But like I think his most like popular role or his most well-known role is the Riddler in Batman the Animated Series. Yeah.
Last year I got the animated series all on Blu-ray. I haven't like watched all of it yet. I've only watched like 10 episodes.
Great series.
Yeah.
Yeah. Arguably the best portrayal of Batman on screen.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. But think about the first movie.
It's a dark coming-of-age story.
Right.
It's a black comedy.
Think about how well, in the second one, if the dad and the corporation guy met, how well that they would... Because he's literally these crazy inventions, and then he's just the crazy corporation guy who's like, I'll put a price tag on anything. Like, I feel like that should have happened.
There's a lot... We're going to get into it right now, but two things I want to bring up. Did you know why they chose Snow White for the theater scene in the first Gremlins?
No.
Well, obviously it's because like Gremlins, dwarves.
Well, yeah,
stuff,
that's...
But because like the film is set at Christmas, they chose Snow White because it was released in December of 1941 as a Christmas film.
I got
And before we move on to Gremlins 2, I want to pose the question, Christmas or Halloween film to you?
Christmas.
Really?
Because the thing is, it has Christmas music in it.
Right.
It takes place at Christmas time. There's Christmas lights. There's Christmas trees.
Yep.
There's nothing like, even though I don't consider a movie, if it's scary, instantly a Halloween movie, because I feel like it doesn't have to be Halloween if it's scary. Like, as bad as the movie is, not the Gremlins, but I'm saying, like, as bad as the movie is, Krampus is technically, I've seen, like, bits and pieces. It's still a Christmas movie, even though it's a full-on horror movie where kids like, get eaten and stuff. It has Christmas themes, it has Christmas-related characters in it, and it takes place around that time.
No, I'm definitely with you. I think it's more a Christmas movie than a Halloween movie, even though, like, you go on Peacock right now, it's part of their Halloween collection.
Yeah, they'll put it in both, I'm sure.
It's like, it's the Nightmare Before Christmas scenario. Like, it can apply to both, I think.
It can, but I think Nightmare Before Christmas is more 50-50 like, split, where this is more like a 70-30 kind of thing.
Also, Tim Burton was apparently considered to direct Gremlins.
Oh.
Which makes a lot of sense.
I can see why, but I feel like it would have been drastically different.
It would have felt, I think, a lot like,
more bleak.
More like an Edward Scissorhands type of Tim Burton, like, the little, like, perfect suburbia that is disturbed by these outcast creatures and stuff. I mean, I don't want to say it because I'm sure, like, Tim Burton remake King would love to do it because he remakes everything and doesn't do anything original anymore. Yeah, I said it. I think he would have probably knocked it out of the park, but I'm very happy with what Joe Dante did. I think it's a hot take. It's what made the film work, and then they just took off his training wheels in Gremlins 2. And let's just dive into this because,
all right,
man.
So Gremlins 2 is like, I think it's perfect.
Whoa.
because it's, I don't think there's any way to not watch it and not have a good time.
It's wild, man.
There's definitely some stuff in it that has not aged well at all.
Oh my God.
But the stuff that has aged well has aged like wine.
It's like, well, we've already talked about it. Like, there is a corporation that's looking to buy the shop from the old man because they're looking to build this like major conglomerate skyscraper, and he says no, and then 6 weeks later he dies.
Yep.
They demolish
just let
it.
Him die.
They just demolish it, and Gizmo is still like in the shop when they demolish it, but like a laboratory like picks him up that just happens to work in this place. You take it from here.
Yeah, so somehow in this, so I looked at it as very much like they're just a corporation that does everything. Or is trying to get their mitts into every possible genre
like
of something.
It's a TV station, I think. But they also they also randomly have a geneticist as a tenant.
Yeah, and they have like a secret lab.
Yeah.
And where they're doing tests on animals with
Christopher Lee as the lead
exactly,
scientist.
Yeah.
That blew my mind. I'm like, what is he doing here?
Yeah. And I think we can both agree. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, I don't know about you, but I at least think the standout gremlin of Gremlins 2 is easily the brain gremlin.
That's the one that can talk, right?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
When he has the whole conversation and then he starts singing Frank Sinatra and then dies.
What a bizarre movie. It's like, I feel like I was watching it and I'm like, there's a lot of good concepts here that I just feel like aren't really being explored too much. Because if you think about it, like, obviously, like, Gizmo finds his way around the skyscraper or the building. We'll just say it's the building. And, like, he gets wet and the gremlins pop out of his back and they start taking... It's almost like Die Hard, but with gremlins.
That's a really good way to put it, yeah.
And I'm just like, if Joe Dante just stuck with the darker tone here, like, I think this film would have become even more popular than the first one.
That's probably true, yeah.
But, like, no, Joe Dante, like, kind of... Do we think he did it to spite Warner Brothers?
Oh, it's got to be. It's very, like, anti, like, I don't know.
It's almost like anti-traditional blockbuster.
Yeah.
Traditional filmmaking because, like, there's not a lot of plot. It's just a lot of chaos.
I said to, like... The best way that I thought about the movie after was it's like the most middle finger of a movie that there could be, like, to everyone, even the people like watching it.
Yeah,
it's like literally they're like, oh, because there's that whole part where there's like people saying that they didn't like the first one,
right,
and stuff, and he's like, whatever.
Yeah, Leonard Maltin makes a cameo and he's reviewing the first one and he doesn't like it.
Yeah, and it's like that whole thing, and they're just like, whatever, doesn't matter.
It's so. I think right from the start of the film, you're not in for a similar ride because like they do like the traditional Warner Brothers logo where Bugs Bunny comes in and then like Daffy Duck interrupts him
and he's like, it's my turn.
Yeah,
let me be in the logo for once.
And then you don't see them ever again.
Well,
except for the credits,
right?
Yeah,
and that was one of the things I watched. I saw was Joe Dante also directed Looney Tunes Back in Action,
better than Space Jam. I think.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's better than Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but
no,
I think it's
not.
better than Space Jam for sure.
It's definitely better than Space Jam too.
Yeah. I don't think much needs to be said about that.
That's all I need to say.
But Joe Dante loves Daffy Duck.
Okay.
Like that's why Daffy has such a presence in Back in Action over Bugs
that
for a
makes
majority
sense.
of the movie. Mm-hmm. Is because if you think about it, like Space Jam is like more of a Bugs.
Sure.
Bugs usually takes the lead.
Yeah.
But Back in Action is like, no, it's Daffy.
Yeah.
It's Daffy and Brendan Fraser.
Daffy and Brendan Fraser. His best role, in my opinion.
And then, sorry, real quick, Brendan Fraser update. Did you hear that he's going to be playing Firefly in the Batwoman movie? Or Batgirl movie?
The Batgirl movie, yes.
Batgirl movie, yeah.
I'm all for the second coming of Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
It's much deserved and needed. Because Brendan Fraser is an icon and a gem.
Hopefully it'll be good.
I hope so.
I think he'll do a good job as Firefly.
I think so. And we haven't had Firefly, like...
Ever.
We had, like,
He was in the shows.
Yeah, we had him in, like, animated shows, and then we had, like, a gender swap version in Gotham for a couple episodes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Gotham.
Okay.
So
I mean, I don't want to say watch Gotham, but... I mean, like...
You could look it up.
I enjoyed it. Most of it.
I've heard it's, like, pretty good overall.
Yeah, it is, for sure.
So.
I know, like, some Batman purists are not all for it, but I don't mind it.
Yeah.
Anyway. And then, that we'll use that to tie us back into Gremlins 2, where they just randomly parody Batman at one point.
Oh, what was that? I'm trying to remember.
Well, it's like... So at one point, the Gremlins make their way around the laboratory, and, like, they decide to start drinking the genes and DNA of other creatures.
Yes.
And so one gets wings.
Yeah.
And drinks he gets injected with genetic sunblock so sun won't mess with him.
Which, the second I saw that, I was like, oh, this is going to be a major problem.
Right?
And then he just dies.
Yeah.
Well,
by cement.
He doesn't die. He gets petrified.
By cement.
Yeah. I would love if Gremlins 3 picked up with, like, that falls off, like, the building and breaks open, he's still alive, and that's how...
That would be crazy.
That's how they
because, like, that's a major game-changing moment when the gremlin is not affected by sunlight anymore.
Right. There's only 3 rules.
Only 3 rules.
Only one of them makes it weak.
Yeah, only one of them will kill him.
Yeah.
And, like, the brainy gremlin just figured it out.
I'm trying to think. Do we have solid proof that... Because I know it happens in the first one, but it's always like as a comedic thing. Mm-hmm. Do gremlins die by getting shot? Because I know they get shot in the first one, but it's like another gremlin will shoot one with like the little gun, and then they'll just like fly back.
I don't know.
Because if they don't, then if that guy is...
Well, I don't know how much we want to... I don't know how much we can say the rules of the first... Other than the 3 rules, how much like the rules of the world from Gremlins apply to Gremlins 2.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Gremlins were getting shot in the first movie and dying. I mean, Gremlins in the first movie got blown up.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, I guess there are a few ways to skin a cat, but, like, when you take out the major weakness of bright light...
But how are we to know that the whole reason the Gremlins died in the first one from the explosion wasn't just that it was a bright fire?
That's true.
If there was no light in that fire, what if they just walked out?
Well, I guess Gremlins 2 would have taken a very different route.
Yeah.
Or more different than it already did. But to what you were saying about Looney Tunes Back in Action, Joe Dante, I think he got reeled in on that movie because he misbehaved on Gremlins 2. Is that right?
I don't know. I don't think it was. I think it was just because basically Back in Action was going to be like the Space Jam sequel kind of thing. And they had been trying to make a sequel to Space Jam. Mm-hmm. And they, like, I don't know if you know this, but there was actually like 10 Space Jam sequels that they were going to do, and they didn't do any of them. They were going to do one with like Tony Hawk.
Right. Skate Jam.
And like they were going to do one with
Jeff Gordon.
There was one, I think, with Jackie Chan.
Yep,
they were going to do
Spy Jam.
Yeah.
I think that's the one that is closest to what Back in Action is.
Right. And like, obviously, if the studio didn't let like 10 of those projects happen, they were obviously interfering a lot with each of those and things like that. So when Joe Dante went and tried to make his movie, I'm sure his original script was more in line with the older Looney Tunes stuff and more like craziness and constant, like more along the lines of Gremlins 2. Yeah. And they were like, we can't do that.
Wow, that's kind of an epiphany moment. That Gremlins 2 definitely does sort of feel like a live action, old
cartoon.
School.
Yeah.
Yeah, Looney Tune cartoon, because like the characters, they break the fourth wall like
constantly. Constant
anarchy.
Yeah.
Fourth wall is
so
broken
many like
so many times.
And ding throwing sound effects all over it and
crazy slapstick and stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's totally different from the first one.
Right. The first one is like somewhat like I don't want to say restricted.
Yeah.
But it's like there's like certain things that like when you're watching it, you're like, oh, this isn't going to happen. Things like that. But there's no predicting what's going to happen in Gremlins 2.
No. And I think like partially they went that route because people were so like off-put by the dark tone of the first one.
Yeah.
So
I just love how like while you're watching Gremlins 2, you think you've seen like the peak of the craziness.
No, you haven't.
And then like the thing that like it's probably not that crazy to most people. But for me, when I saw it, it baffled me. Is when he goes when the big corporation guy goes into like his closet and he has like a secret escape elevator.
Yeah.
And it just opens up inside a telephone booth just out on the street and he walks out and nobody questions it.
Nobody questions it.
They're just like, "Oh, hey."
And Mr. Futterman's just like, yeah, I'll go in that.
And he just goes in it but it's an escape pod. Why would it go back?
Because Mr. Futterman needs it too.
He just leaves his wife on the street in New York City
because he's a neighborhood hero and he needs to step up. And when they finally decide how to kill the Gremlins in Gremlins 2, I was like, this better work.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't work, this film is not ending well.
Yeah.
I was just there like, this can only go one of two ways. And my brain is telling me this film is just getting wilder and wilder, and I just tell me it's not going to work.
What you were saying about the rules and how they apply.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed that's kind of consistent between the two in a weird way is it seems like Gizmo is a very calm gremlin.
Right.
And it seems like when you like multiply them, they're almost like extreme versions.
Yeah.
Always. They're always like an extreme to a personality type. Like in the first one, it's not specific as the second one, but in the first one, they're all crazy.
Yeah.
And they're like freaking out and they're eating food and they're like playing video games. And Gizmo's just like, I just want to sit on the bed and hang out and stuff like that.
Yeah. In the first Gremlins, like they all look the same once they spawn off of him. In Gremlins 2, you can definitely like tell like, okay, these aren't Gizmo.
Yeah, like there's literally one that's like a goofy one.
Yeah.
And then they all have like different colors and like they have different face shapes and stuff like that. But obviously they're gonna become gremlins.
Yeah.
And then they still kind of keep their features, but like
it's hard to. I mean, some of them I was like, okay, which one is that?
Right, but there's one specifically that you like know.
And
because I forget what his name is.
He's talking.
No, not the brain one. It's
is it Mohawk? Mohawk is like the black one with the mohawk.
Yeah. No, what's the one that's like the hyper one? Like the first one that's like they take the one that Katie takes by accident.
Oh.
And then he ends up like freaking out and like bouncing all over the walls and stuff.
I don't remember his name. I called him Goofy for
I'm pretty sure it is like Goofy or something like that.
Yeah, you can tell it's him when he evolves.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he still kind of acts the same way, and they all have like more voice than just like that. Like in the first one.
Yeah.
Like they're all like they have like weird goofy voices that like fit their personalities and stuff.
No, I think the puppetry is like I think it's better than in the first one.
Oh, it definitely is.
I think that's one thing Gremlins 2 does better than the first Gremlins is the special practical effects are really good.
Yeah.
And I can't the two the two twin scientists.
Yeah.
They're actually real twins.
Yeah.
I was like, that's special effects. I was like, no, it's real twins. Yeah. All right, cool. And then like you say, it just keeps getting more and more wild, and then that final scene.
I'm trying to remember.
Well, it's like I think it's Billy's direct supervisor. Like we see him like get attacked by the female gremlin like in like the middle of the movie.
Oh,
yeah. Then we don't see him again. We don't see him again for a while.
I thought you meant like how the gremlins like die and stuff.
No,
like
that I remember. But like,
yeah.
He's like, hey, can you come? Like, I'm like locked on the 48.
Oh yeah, there's a straight up like human gremlin relationship that just happens.
Man, I can't wait to see that explored in Gremlins 3.
I like that. I hope they don't.
I
That's the one thing that I would be like, ugh. If they're gonna do another Gremlins, I would almost prefer like a soft reboot with some of the original cast like making cameos than like half human, like
oh god, no,
half gremlin.
I don't want to see that.
I don't want to see like Lamb but with gremlins. Did you see Lamb?
No, I didn't see Lamb.
Oh, I saw Lamb.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny.
It's not funny.
It's not a horror movie at all.
Really?
They marketed it really bad. It's like a drama comedy.
Okay.
Nobody's laughing in the movie, but everyone in the theater was laughing.
Well, I mean, that's sort of like Jurassic Park to me, where the old man keeps going, "We spared no expense." And I'm like, you clearly spared some expense. Stop saying that.
Yeah.
Or like in the beginning when the attorney's like, what does he say? Excuse me. Some of the investors are concerned about the safety of the park. And I'm like, you think?
Oh, yeah. That's how it is in all the Jurassic Parks.
Yeah.
Is like the second that like in Jurassic World where they're like Verizon Fios presents the whatever, and it's like, okay, this is good. The whole wall's gonna break open and stuff like that.
Yep.
They wouldn't put them on an island story wise if they weren't gonna bust out and be uncontrollable.
Wrong episode for a second. So we've talked a lot about Gremlins and Gremlins 2. What do you think allows audiences to like connect with Gremlins and keep coming back to it?
I think it's just like, for me, I love the music of the movie.
It does have really good music.
It's that opening scene with the title drop.
Yep.
Like I love. And I think it's just like, I feel like a lot of people watch Gremlins thinking it's more like a family Christmas movie, and then like every year they're almost like lulled into a subconscious state where they're like, oh, it's Gremlins, it's like a family Christmas movie, and then like 20 minutes in they're like, oh, this is not what I signed up for, but we're already watching the movie. So
yeah, I think it's good that we have a dark Christmas film, you know, because like all Christmas movies are kind of like bright and cheery and stuff. It's good to have like something tonally different. Yeah,
the only other movie that I consider like, because most Christmas movies are pretty like similar in tone, but like I think the two other like standouts, at least for me, is I feel like A Christmas Story is kind of different tonally.
Yeah, it's not horror.
No, but it's not like Elf or something like that. It's more like, it almost feels like a documentary in a way.
It does. It's looking at childhood on a sort of cynical lens.
Right.
Yeah.
And then obviously It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
Which is very much, has the spirit of Christmas, but it's not like happiness and toys. It's very like, I don't know.
Sometimes life is hard.
Right.
And sometimes you're on rock bottom.
Yeah.
But you got to remember that there are other people here to help you.
Real quick, fun fact about Christmas Story. I don't know if I told you this.
No.
My ex-cousin is the mom in that movie.
No, you don't. Wait, I feel like you told me that before.
Yeah.
That's too obscure for me. I've not heard before.
So my cousin, do you remember the movie Dolphin Tale?
Unfortunately. I've never seen it, but I've heard of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't remember anything else that he was in, but my cousin was an actor, and he was in the beginning of Dolphin Tale, was the only like movie that I saw him in, because he was in a bunch of older movies. But he's like the old man on the beach at the beginning of the movie that discovers the dolphin and stuff like that. But he was married to her, and then they got divorced. But so technically, by like through marriage, but now divorce, I am a cousin of the mom in A Christmas Story.
Wow.
So
now, can you get to 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon with that?
Oh, I'm sure.
I bet you could.
Somehow, I'm sure, yeah.
All right. Flynn, to wrap it up, just if you had to pitch this film to someone who had never seen it before, why would you say, like, hey, you should see Gremlins, this film matters?
It's very much like not a Christmas movie that, if you haven't seen it, you haven't seen a Christmas movie or a holiday movie like this in general.
Yeah.
So it's very much like a different experience. It's very fun to like watch and with like a bunch of people, and just like if you want to make fun of it, that kind of thing. You can make fun of it, or you can watch it genuinely. It's very much a thing you can do on both sides.
Yeah.
Gremlins 2 especially, you can make fun of and just
Yes, you can.
enjoy. But yeah, it's very much like just a fun overall experience. A lot of like subtle jokes and stuff like that, with like the inventions and things like that. The bathroom buddy.
Oh yeah, the bathroom buddy. Sorry.
Speaking of which, I love there's one invention that he has in the movie that I just never, it's a hazard during that scene, is he has the automatic hammer.
Yeah.
That's going to kill someone. That's the product that gets recalled by the company.
Right.
Because someone died. Like,
the dad is like one of the best understated characters.
oh
in the
yeah,
film.
he's very underrated in the overall plot. But in the overall plot, besides the first minute of the movie, he has no purpose.
Yeah, no, not really.
He's kind of just there. They honestly could have had it be something where like he just shipped him Gizmo, like he's working out of state and like ships him to him, and then is like, "Here you go, son," and then he's just not in the movie anymore.
He really isn't though.
But instead, he like lingers, and he's like at a gas station.
Yeah,
and he's at like this invention convention, and there's like robots walking by, and
that should have let us know what Joe Dante was going to give us for the sequel there. I think that was a hint of what's to come.
Oh yeah, that was like just a peek behind the curtain.
Yeah, but all right. So Gremlins, a good time.
Yep.
Holiday, any holiday, Christmas or Halloween, and
I like to watch it around Christmas time, but you could honestly watch Gremlins at any time. The only things that are really like super Christmassy about it are there's some Christmas music, and obviously like it takes place in December, and there's trees and lights and stuff like that.
So it's a tradition for you, this film.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think that's the perfect note to end on. All right, Flint. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I thank you for first introducing me to Gremlins like all those years ago. I can't believe I'd taken that long to see it, and thank you very much for introducing me to Gremlins too. I'll never forget it, and I hope I find a film of equal caliber to pay you back with someday.
Hopefully Gremlins 3 someday.
Oh my God. Well, if it happens, we're there.
Yeah. I have one recommendation for you.
Okay.
That I will also say for other people. If you're looking for a movie as crazy as Gremlins, or as Gremlins 2, on Amazon Prime, there's a movie called Velocipaster.
Oh my God.
It is so funny. And it is a movie that was made to be bad on purpose and like ridiculous. And it's about a priest that turns into a velociraptor and fights ninjas.
I had heard about this. Yeah.
It's really good.
Oh my God. All right. Folks, this has been Movies That Matter. I've been your host, Chris Flaherty. If you want to email us, you can find us at moviesthatmatterpod@gmail.com. Also, you can find us on Instagram at moviesthatmatterpod. And on Twitter, it's Movies That Matter, but there's no T at the end of matter because apparently it was taken. So it's at Movies That Matter. The Matter. I don't know. Apparently it was taken.
Oh.
Anyway, folks, keep watching what you like. Entertainment is subjective, and that's not a bad thing. Don't listen to the critics. Don't listen to the box office. Form your own opinions and watch what you love. I've been your host, Chris Flaherty. Thank you for listening. Good night.